morning's workout. We have 6.01 miles at an 8:19 minute per mile pace. Woo! Good morning. Post 6 mile run. Now Mondays are probably my most difficult runs of the week, just because 48 hours before this I had my main brick workout, which was 3.5 hours on the bike and an hour run, one directly into the other. Sundays, yesterday's my day off, and then Mondays, my legs just feel really like thick and heavy and tired. And the course I did today, the 6 miles, was like this. I mean, you hear Texas is flat, and Texas is generally flat, but we're in the hill country. It's not mountains, it's just rolling hills everywhere. And last week when we were in Ocean City, Maryland, I ran my 6 miles on just a flat island, essentially, and 8 minute per miles, easy. This one today was a little difficult, but I'm going to take you through all my meals today. I did that run fasted, so I haven't eaten anything yet. Okay, so first things first, my go-to so far during Ironman prep has been these Gatorade Zeros. How many Gatorade Zeros do I go through a week? 12 at least. I finished my workout. I'm craving this the entire workout because it's late July in Central Texas. I throw back one of these. And you guys know the drill. Next step, 1 scoop of strong greens, juice of 1 lemon before I get into the actual food. So just throw this back. So meal number 1, we have 4 whole eggs. I have a half of an avocado and then 3 slices of bacon. So the thing is, my first meal, unless it's a super endurance cardio heavy day like my main bricks, I don't include carbs my first meal. I just feel better that way. So it's typically just proteins and fats for my first meal, unless it's something crazy like on Saturdays, like I said. And then my second meal, I'll start incorporating carbs again. But I'm not tracking macros right now. I'm just eating based off of feel and focusing more on like the quality of foods, and not necessarily like a strict amount of proteins, fats, and carbs, but based off of how I'm performing and how I'm recovering and how I feel. So this is meal number 1. So I wanted to talk about something in this video, and it's in regards to a low-carb, high-fat diet for endurance athletes. And I've seen a lot of people talking about it online and in the ultra-endurance niche, and I really looked into it and considered it, but I haven't found any strong supporting evidence that it makes a big difference going low carb, high fat, as opposed to like a higher carb, lower fat, or just moderate carb, moderate fat diet. And now the theory behind it is if you go like a ketogenic approach or a lower carb, higher fat diet, you can be fat adapted. So you can metabolize fats better and use them as fuel for ultra endurance events. And in theory, it makes sense. So I'm gonna go over some numbers really quick to kind of put into perspective. Now on race day, I'll be about 200 pounds. I'm like 208 right now. But a 200-pound male during an Ironman will burn between 10,000 and 11,000 calories, about, that's roughly. Now where you can store calories as glucose to use as a carbohydrate source for the body, you can store about 2,000 calories in muscle glycogen. You can store about 400 calories in liver glycogen. During the race itself, mainly on the bike, a little bit on the run, you can consume about 60 to 90 grams of carbs per hour, which is about 240 to 360 calories per hour. I'll probably be in the ballpark around 300 calories per hour just based off of like gut rot, and digesting and using those carbs and feeling better. That's about 1,800 calories total that I can consume on the bike, not the run, just the bike. So between muscle and liver glycogen and like a meal I eat before the Ironman itself, and then calories during the bike, that's about 4,600 to 5,000 calories that I can use and break down into glucose to use during the race. That's like half of what I'm going to burn during the Ironman. Gets me halfway there. Now my body will burn and metabolize fats to use as energy, but the theory behind the lower carb, higher fat diet going into a race is that your body is fat adapted and you can metabolize fats at a higher rate, which sustains you longer. And even though it makes sense in theory, a lot of people that I've talked to and things that I've read about doesn't really work out that way. I'm the type of person too that if something works for me, if it's not broke, I'm not going to fix it. And I'm not going to change my diet to be a lower carb, higher fat just based off of some of those findings. But I wanted to present that information to you guys because it's really interesting. The amount of calories that you can utilize from muscle glycogen and calories you consume on the bike in your event meal, and that compared to the amount of calories you burn on the Ironman itself, you gotta figure that's why you hit that wall. You literally run out of energy throughout the race. Like, not just like mental energy, but physical glucose during the race, which is then why you metabolize fats, but it's crazy. All right, so lunch, which as you can see, the dogs are, hey, watch yourself. We got 1 cup of rice, 8 ounces of a 96.4 ground beef, half of an avocado, and then on top, what we've been using lately, which is really good, is this cocoa aminos. It's like a coconut amino acid. I honestly don't even know really. Steph gets it and it's delicious, but if you can find the stuff, it's like a seasoning, sauce, and marinade. Delicious on rice and like ground beef. But here's what we got. All right, so today's actually a day off of training, of like resistance training, but I'm still hitting core on days when I'm not doing like chest, back, shoulders. I'm not hitting any legs, like all my leg training is through Ironman prep. However, I'm, like I said, hitting core quite frequently, so I'll just come in here and for like 20, 25 minutes, knock out a bunch of core stuff. Hanging leg raises, as you probably know, is probably my favorite core exercise. And today, me and Preston are gonna see who can do the most hanging leg raises in a row. So, the rules are your legs have to come up and touch the bar. All right? Back up, back up, back up, back up, 18, 19, 20. 2, 3, 30, 31.
One more.
82. Hands. Woo. Woo. 32. Baby brother's up.
How many you gonna do?
33.
33? Let's see it.
Oh, fuck. I hate these.
2, 3, 4, 9, 10. Dude, you better get it. Come on. 11, 12, 13, 14. Are you kidding me? What do you have to say for yourself?
I don't usually do those. I gotta start doing core more, especially if I'm gonna stay leaner. You can tell I don't do core as much as I should.
Well, let me show you what I like to do on hanging leg raises. It's like a different variation. So what I'll do is I'll do 10 regular hanging leg raises. Just 10 strict. But then what I'll do, come a little closer. What I'll do after those 10 is I'll do as many reps as possible with like a variation of a toes to bar. So I'll go with momentum. So I'll do my 10 regular and as many reps as possible to burn out. I'll do this. So not my toes all the way up, but I pull my body away with my arms and put all that tension on my core and it destroys me. Woo! Try that. So now the third of probably 4 meals for the day. I have 2 scoops of the blueberry muffin protein in some water in the shaker. And then this blueberry crisp Cliff Bar actually tastes very similar to this blueberry muffin protein powder. So I have the blueberry crisp protein Cliff Bar and the white chocolate macadamia nut Cliff Bar, and both with a little bit of almond butter on top. So we got protein, we got carbs, we got fats, we got it all. She works hard for money, so hard for money. She works hard for money. I felt like I hit every one of those notes. Now let's see if the exposure on the camera is properly set. Actually, not too bad. So, things I am purchasing right now for prep. Also, a lot of people, before we get into all of that, a lot of people have been asking questions about a review on the Garmin 735 XT that I've been using for the past couple weeks. Absolutely in love with it so far, but I haven't even dove into all of its capabilities. But I really like the watch, the Garmin 735 XT. I get that question all the time. But something I purchased today was, it's for when I'm open water swimming during training. It attaches around my waist, and it's like a flotation device that kind of just skims across the water as I'm swimming in open water. Purchased one of those today on Amazon, so that should be in a few days, so that when I'm open water swimming practice leading up to the Ironman, if I'm ever in a situation where I cramp up or I can't breathe or I'm just in trouble, I have that on me. So it's just that peace of mind having that there, because swimming is not my best event, that's for sure. And then also things that I have to purchase here in the next couple of days, probably swimsuit, and then my triathlon suit that I'm going to wear. And I have a call with Triathlon Taryn on Friday, so I'm going to ask him exactly what he recommends for transitions, like what to wear at the swim, the bike, and the run, and then how to transition into changing into those things. So I'm not going to purchase anything yet, but I'm looking at the Roka wetsuit. Roka wetsuit. That's what I'm looking for right now. So that's where I'm at with gear. It is dinner time, baby. So we got some Brussels sprouts that I cut in half that are in this bowl. And then in this bowl, we're going to bake these, but I'm going to do some olive oil like so. And then this magic right here, which is called Nature's Seasonings, or Nature's Seasons. Put a little in here, and we're going to mix these up. Throw them in the oven at, what do I have it set at? 375 right now. And then roast these We're going to roast these right here. We're going to roast the Brussels. Now, in addition to the Brussels sprouts, we're going to do sushi rice that Steph and I have been really into lately. Just a different texture. It's more sticky. You have to strain this rice before you make it, but I'm going to throw this in a rice cooker. I've got sushi rice and then salmon that I'm going to throw in the oven. And there's a sauce that you put on top of all of this that Steph will show you, but it's to die for. It's perfect. So I'm going to make the salmon. I'm going to put the salmon in the oven with the Brussels sprouts. I'm going to throw the sushi rice on the rice cooker.
Here is the recipe for the secret sauce. This is what makes the meal just so good. So here's what you're gonna need. You're gonna need sesame oil, tahini, those cocoa aminos again, Nature's seasoning blend, and last but not least, the juice from one squeezed lime. So 4 tablespoons of the cocoa aminos. And then you're going to do just a little dasheroo of the sesame oil. And then you're gonna do 2 tablespoons of the tahini.
Tahini.
Except it's not gonna fit. So we're gonna use our head and do math skills. And do, actually I don't know how to convert this.
3 teaspoons equal a tablespoon.
Whatever. All right, and then you're gonna squeeze that lime all up in there. And last but not least, top it off with a little bit of Nature's seasoning. There you go. All right, and then you're just gonna whisk all the ingredients together. If it's a little thick, you can add a little bit of water, and that'll give you more of the secret sauce.
And the last meal of the night, it's probably about a cup of the sushi rice. I have a little bit of Kerrygold's butter on there, some Brussels sprouts. I'd say maybe 9 to 10 ounces of salmon, and then that special sauce that Steph put on top of everything. We've had this meal probably twice a week for the past month, and it's delicious. You should definitely try it. So that's a day in the life of a typical diet for me right now, and I just wanted to provide a little bit of insight. Hope you guys enjoyed it. So we'll see you in the next video.